Hello and good evening, everyone. Today we're going to complete our series about functions and procedure. Last time we did a quick comparison between the function and procedure. Let me do a quick recap. We took that the function accepts a single value or a table. It can be used in a select statement. It accepts a parameter, and we can use to implement logic and loops. Today, we're going to give more details about what can happen in function. We will give examples and we will show you how you can really benefit from the function in real life examples. So let's go to the first one, which is intro to dynamic filtering. What is dynamic filtering? When you are working in a big team or a big group that you are doing a lot of calculations in a different tables, and function can really solve a lot of problem. It first make your code clean, readable, and maintainable. That mean if I define a function, my colleague on the same team can reuse it, and that's save time, of course, first. Second, it helps with consistency. So if we define function, let's say we will use our table employees, same as last time. So let's say we are defining the bonus function for this year. Next year, the criteria changed, or the promotion criteria changed. Once we change the function, next year or the year after, we still can use it. So we don't need to manipulate the whole concept again. We will just update the parameters that need to be updated to match the new requirement. So that make our life easier when we have new modification. Plus, we can, as we explained now, we can reuse the logic, you know, and this in like implement one of the most important concept in object-oriented programming, which is encapsulation. Like you hide the logic inside the Tsql function, and then you're able to use it as inheritance in different script. Of course, that make it also easier to change. Once you change the parameter, it will be reflected. Let's go to show you the example in practice, and it will be easier to understand the concept. The time we are using the same table, so we created the table employee, we add the ID, first name, last name, and we will provide this table as always in the description so you can follow up. Here is the table. You can see the data we have. We will use this data to create our function. To start, as last time, you need first to create your function. So create function, and after you create the function, you will be able to add the parameter on it. But like let's use the same function, get promotable employees. Okay. Then after that, you need to define the parameter. Uh, we will base our promotion based on the minimum salary. So we will define the parameter as minimum salary. That will be um, our like thresholds that we will use to say, okay, if for example John get 5,000, then he eligible to go for the promotion. People who are less than 10,000 are not eligible for this promotion. So we will use the salary as our criteria, and that's why we define it as a parameter. Then now we need to return the table of people we are going to select them for promotion. Okay, so return table. And after we return the table, we need to start our function like as last time as, and then we return the logic. Let's open bracket and then we select. Okay, what we need to show, we need to show all, maybe we can show the whole set of columns, and then from employees, because this is a table we built, where salary is bigger than let's say we want to promote the people who get more than 10,000 for tax reason or something like, okay, and now we need to use our parameter. So when we add the money or the salary, it will be reflected as a parameter, reflected as a threshold that we use in the where clause, and that's what makes the um, equation more dynamic. So you have here the parameter, you just needed to add as a condition, and then let's close it and let's create this function. Now let's select and see how it will work. So select, you select all, and then from, and then let's use our function. And let's add, for example, for simplicity, 5,000. Okay, and let's close it and run it. So this is the list of people who are getting like promotion based on the criteria we give. What if we said, okay, we want only the people who are above 6,000? If you just change it like this and run it again, okay, you can see you have Paul, David, and you have only the people who above the 6,000. Okay, so you already now have the promotion. So if this year the company decided that, okay, we will make promotion for people who are below this or higher after this, then you are able to put it next year. The management decided to change. We will are doing this for above 10,000. Okay, so it will be just change in the parameter. Parameter will be reflected as minimum salary. It could be anything else. It could be multiple parameter like minimum salary and hiring date, and they target the people who are getting less salary and they want to increase their salary. Let's go for the second step. The second example, we have here the table value function. We will use today cross apply. It's like very near to the concept of inner join, and we will show how we can use it. The difference between the inner join, you have two tables and you check what is in between them, what is common. But when you have cross apply, it gives you the ability to use the function or the query that depend on each row from the left table. So instead of you have one table and second table is fixed, one table in this case is created by the function. And this function, it takes the parameters, and these parameters that you give it to that, like you define the criteria, that mean you, if you have two fixed tables, you use the inner join. But if you have one table and one table value function, a table that created from a function, you can use the cross apply. Why it's benefit? It's dynamic, of course, because once you will change the logic dynamically in the function, the table output from the function will change, and then you can always update that. How we will use this time? I will use the same concept. I will implement it in department, just we did last time, that we will use the salary. But what if the salary comes with combination of department? So I won't say that the engineering department, they will take the promotion if they're more than like 7,000. And I want the people in HR get the promotion if they are more than 3,000. Because like, let's say that the HR get paid less than the engineering, so it make no sense that we whole company use the same promotion criteria. This is actually more nearer to the reality that you have different criteria. In that case, you will be able to apply this logic of the table value function. Let's go and check also the example, and it will be easier to understand when we show you the example. Second, we had already the employees that we showed before. Let's add this table. We create a different table called department criteria. As we explained, we will insert in this table for each like for each department a different salary, and we will use that to build the tables that we will use to match with employee table, and then we can get for each department what we need. So we have now department criteria, and now let's build our function. This one is the one we built it before. Let's do modification on it so you see how the changes happen. So we will call it, of course, we can't use the same function with same name, otherwise we will get error. So we will call it get department promotion. We will use the same like minimum salary because that's what we used last time, but we will add a different parameters this time. We call it department. So the department will be um, the second column that we are, or second parameters that we are using in our case, okay? And like we will use like also um, after the parameter, we are now need to go to the return table. So as return, it will stay the same. And let's be specific, we will select the employee ID and first name and last name, department and salary, because here, of course, is specific, we need the department. So we get the department. And then we get it from employees. Okay, then we have the salary bigger than minimum salary. This is exactly the same like last time, but we want to add one more like one more condition. So we will add the department equal to at dip. So you must use the same again parameter here. It's something also for best practice that usually people use. You always write 1 equal to 1. Of course, this will be always correct, but this help you when you are having too much criteria like and you add and it helps you that afterwards, anytime you want to add a condition, you don't need to follow up the whole logic. You just come to the and then you add your and then it became a way more easier to follow it up. Okay, let's run it. We already created the function. Let's modify that what we used last time. So it's selected and from, of course, this time we need to use our new function. So let's put it here. And okay, this time we want to apply the we want to apply our like we created already the table, if you remember, it called department criteria. So we will use this table, okay, and let's call it DC, give it abbreviation DC for simplicity, and then now we need to apply our cross apply, and then we have our new function. So instead, like when you are using inner join, you say from department criteria DC inner, like a join, and then inner join, then you have the other table. In this case, you don't have other table. You have other function that is defined, that is dynamic, that you can change at any time. And then, so we need to check. We need the DC. We will take the department and we want from last time I believe it was like department and minimum salary, right? This was the um, two parameters we talk about here in this equation. So let's do tc dot department, and we have also yeah, dc dot minimum salary. So I believe this will be easier. And here, because it's like promotion, so let's give it P as promotion. So this will be easier. Okay, and then we need to select all from promotion table. So let's select all from promotion. So P is here the abbreviation for promotion. And we want select from here there is an error, let's correct it. So and we need of course our department at beginning from the functions that we create. Okay, so as you can see, we got our table, and then for example we said the sales will be above 4,000. All the department of sale above 4,000 are chosen, no one below 4,000. But what if we want to update the logic, right? That's why it's dynamic. So in that case, we will use the update function. And see, once I did update department, I set the minimum salary 4,700 and department sales I run it and then I run the query again. You can see the minimum salary is 4,700. By this way, you created a dynamic function and table that can be you. If the next year, for example, they said, okay, but I want sales guys who will get promotion people above 4,800. So you can simply run it again like this way. Okay, if the management decided to change their mind, and then we run again next year our promotion table, you see promotion table change. More informative. Next time we will give more practical example about the store procedure, and we will show how the store procedure moves the data between the different layers and how the store procedure is very powerful also. Thank you for listening. I wish you a good evening.